Hi, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to come back to a topic that I cover often because it's so much in the ideological sort of maelstrom of things in the West and certainly Australia at the moment. It's the treatment of rape cases. Now, if a white guy is accused of rape, particularly if he's sort of a middle class guy, if a white guy is accused of rape, just accused, not proven, or then it's national headlines. It's hysterical. It's on the front page of every newspaper. The left wing, or the globalist propaganda outlets, they go absolutely full bore in it and present extremely unflattering portrayals of the man and helpless poor little girly little put upon victim portrayal of the woman. She must be telling the truth. Women never lie about these sorts of things. Only men ever tell lies, and women never tell lies. So the coverage is very one-sided. Now, on top of that, most of and you'd be struggling to find any of them or not these days, most of the Department of Prosecutions are absolutely infected and infested with activists now who've come through the law schools believing firmly that the patriarchy and Hitler are everywhere. Every white male walking around is personally Hitler and so on. So there's a view that any and every rape allegation should be pursued, particularly if it's a white guy that's being accused, because that means you're fighting back against the patriarchy. It's social justice. You're fighting Hitler because Hitlers are everywhere, and if you've got a problem with any of that, then you're a fucking damn Nazi. So the whole situation is ideologically stacked in favor of pursuing white men on the flimsiest of allegations. Now, because the allegations are so flimsy, it kind of has to go to court, which is a massive expenditure of resources that could be better used to go chasing after more serious cases. So cases are being brought to court where it's a he said, she said, and there is no physical evidence at all. And you think to yourself, why is that even going to court? But because activists are in the Department of Prosecutions, they feel ideologically obliged, obligated to pursue a case no matter how flimsy now, because they're taking so many long shots here. Again, the guy goes, "Well, I'm not rolling over and take a plea on that. Get lost." Quite reasonably, by the way. I think the guy, if he gets convicted, he could end up, or if he takes a plea deal, he could still be doing many years in prison and for doing nothing. It could be a lover's spat. It could be anything, or it could be just a made-up story that some mentally unbalanced woman has made, but ideologically that can't be the case. Women never lie, and any allegation they make about rape must be true and treated as true. So it goes to court. Now, it's different with non-white rapes, because typically they do involve violence, threats of violence, or multiple people, gang rape type stuff, and so usually the evidence is pretty strong, and so these guys have got no hope, and they have to, if they're non-white, the males, they have to roll over and take a plea deal. But some of them get out after a fairly short space of time. So it seems that if you're non-white male and you commit a rape, even if it's with violence and all sorts of unpleasantness, that really, okay, do a few years in prison and then we'll forget about it. And that's it. But if you're white and middle class, whoa, motherfucker, you are going down. So they seem to be, as far as I can tell at least, treated in very different ways. And I've mentioned a number of times before that judges that I know where they would say, 20 years ago, the cases they handled were things like murder, and this is in the higher courts, murder and, serious stuff, armed robbery, serious injury through use of firearms, those sort of cases where the chances are that if convicted, the accused could spend quite a long time in prison, and it should go to higher courts, I believe, these sorts of cases. But what are they hearing today? They're hearing ideological cases it's rape, or it's upskirting, or it's very femi ideological, and the sort of cases that the globalists want to have going through the courts. The way they drag Donald Trump through the courts, it's the sort of cases the globalists want, because it's a direct attack against respectable white people who haven't committed any crime, but if you really scratch and try and push hard enough and invent enough evidence and throw enough ideology in there, patriarchy, Hitler, then you might get a few convictions. So, and if a few innocent people go to prison, who cares? Because you're fighting it's an ideological battle against fascist, Nazi, patriarchy. It's a fight against Hitler. So they take a sort of very ideological view on these things. So the senior judges in the country are spending all their time listening to bullshit rape cases. I mean, fuck. Nonetheless, that's how it is. So I want to. There's and I won't mention the name of the case. It's still working its way through the court, so I'll be a little bit careful and prudent here. But just last night, I was looking at the coverage on this is the major TV channels. This is before I even got to the current affairs shows that are very one-sided as well. So looking at these, they had, and I counted it up, they had 10 minutes and 10 seconds of very favourable coverage for the supposed female victim. She's a strong woman. She is stunning and brave. She is fighting the patriarchy single-handed. She is fighting back against the patriarchy. She is fighting Hitler. And so very, very sympathetic coverage. So courageous, so brave, stunning and brave. And evil lawyers who don't, lawyers for the other side, evil lawyers that don't believe her. Those horrible Nazi fucking men. And they're asking her questions. And then she starts to cry because they're being so horrible to her. The Nazis are being horrible to her. And she starts to cry. Think about this thing. This stunning and brave woman reduced to tears by Nazis, by Hitler personally. Very, very sympathetic coverage to the woman. She cried. Oh, and that's because Hitler. And so 10 minutes, 10 seconds, very favourable and sympathetic coverage to her. Now, the reality was that in the cross-examination, she was found to be, very, very sort of, I don't know, what would you say, inconsistent with the truth. Maybe we should call it what it is. Has committed multiple counts of perjury. Which the court doesn't seem like it's interested. Your memory was faulty, that's all. He says something wrong, it's fucking perjury. She says something wrong, hey, you're just a little girl, what the hell. So when she commits perjury, she's a little girl and not responsible. But if there's anything said that makes him look guilty, then suddenly she's a stunning and brave woman telling facts. No, you can't have it both ways. I'm outraged by that sort of attitude. But so she gets 10 minutes and 10 seconds. How much coverage does he get? Does he also get 10 minutes or somewhere in that region? No, he got 1 minute and 41 seconds of very unflattering coverage. The photographs used to him suggest, the photographs of her are she's just a little flower that's being put upon by Nazis. Oh, look at her. She looks so innocent and sweet. She's so sweet. But him, just look at him. Just look at him. That fucking damn Nazi. He fucking did it. And so very, very different portrayals. There's no attempt to be sympathetic to him at all. And there's every attempt to be sympathetic at her. Now, a little while ago, I was talking to someone who is a presenter, or I know, I think they write the scripts for some of the news on one of the major channels, and she said, "Look, our major audience is on TV, so this is prime time. Our major audience is sort of 82% women. The men are all off looking at news online or interacting with the online sort of news community. So the majority of people are looking at are younger people and, particularly younger girls. And women, and lower working class women, and women on welfare, that sort of thing. And this is what they want to hear. Evil, bad men are oppressing them, and they're not living lives of penury because they're lazy or stupid. It's because evil men are holding them back, and that's a message that resonates. They like that. I'm not responsible for being lazy and stupid. It's men that did it to me. So that's a narrative that they think is good marketing and brings more eyeballs to the screen, and that may be so. But I don't. I mean, do you have to so energetically tell lies in order to bring those eyeballs in? Isn't there something wrong with the news if only telling lies? If you think, well, let's just invent a narrative, let's just tell whatever lies we have to bring the eyeballs in. But they seem to think that's quite an acceptable way of doing business. Maybe it is. Seems counterproductive in the long run to me, and certainly creating sort of social problems that needn't exist. Anyway, why is he getting such negative coverage? Now, if you actually drill down and look at the facts, she's caught out on multiple counts of perjury. The information that's being relied on is flimsy at best and outright inaccurate or just fabricated. Information favouring her, fabricated in reality. The information that his side is presenting are rock solid facts that are really unassailable. So they're trying to bring it down to, as best I can tell, this is only my opinion, of course, they're trying to bring it down to a situation, well, the media's portrayed him negatively and portrayed her very positively. So, hey, everybody, hey, you young girls out there, why don't we vote for who you think should go to prison? Do we care about her perjury and her lies and her fabrications? Hands up. Nobody cares about that. Okay, let's forget about that. What about him? What about the photograph of this guy where he looks like a really bad guy? Why don't we? Do you think we should send him to prison? Oh, everyone's hands up. Yeah, let's do it. It's an absurd sort of appeal, if you like, to misguided, misinformed public opinion. Now, he may not be a very likable guy. Maybe she is a very likable young woman. I don't know. I haven't met neither of them. But the issue is that there is not a single fact, not one, that puts him in the frame for having committed facts. Could be and maybe, but facts. There's nothing. There's no physical evidence at all that anything. It's just her claim, and the inconsistency in her claims and her inconsistencies in what happened are so extensive as you think it would just blow it all out the water. But still, these things were being pursued. So it'll be interesting to see what the final outcome. I hope this guy can sue the living fuck out of everybody involved that in my opinion, defamed him. But we'll see what happens. The incredibly sympathetic coverage that she's getting compared to him would suggest that there's every effort is being made to produce an outcome that is not in his favour. But we'll see. But I see this as in the overall scheme of things. Certainly at the moment is the times that we live in. The way we live now is that facts just don't matter. Less and less as each day goes by. Facts just don't matter. And if we look at, again, the pursuit of Donald Trump in the United States, you can just see how much of the cases that they bring are not based on facts. They're not based on anything. They're based on the most outrageous and vague supposition and what we think he might have been thinking when he was thinking, that sort of stuff. And yet, the activist judges and prosecutors and DAs are signing off on all this and using the vast resources of the state to pursue a private citizen who's committed no crime. And I see, at a much more micro level, I see the rape cases and so on as being really that sort of thing. You've been with Taskless today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.